Here are the headlines for Saturday evening, August 31, 2024. Nancy Pelosi says the quiet part out loud to Bill Maher. The Democratic Party's open border policies have led to an invasion of the southern United States border, flooding the country with unvetted and unvaccinated illegal aliens, including ISIS terrorists and Iranian assassins. The party's top priority is granting amnesty to over 10 million illegal aliens, allowing them to become citizens and vote in future elections, potentially ensuring Democrats can fulfill their Marxist agenda of pushing forward with a socialist reconstruction of America. Former Democrats, such as Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., have abandoned the party and now support Donald Trump due to the Democratic Party's stance on immigration and border control. Is this why Warren Buffett dumped billions of dollars worth of Bank of America stock? Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway has sold billions of dollars worth of its long-held stake in Bank of America since mid-July, sparking speculation among market observers about the reasons behind this sudden move. The 94-year-old billionaire may be driven by looming recession threats and the Federal Reserve's interest rate cutting cycle, which could begin as early as mid-September and dent the bank's interest earnings. Alternatively, Buffett may have increased cash reserves to record levels due to elevated stock valuations amid the artificial intelligence bubble. Judge bans X in Brazil for refusing to comply with demands. Elon Musk's social media platform X was ordered to be immediately suspended by Brazilian Supreme Court Judge Alexandre de Moraes due to the company's refusal to comply with a legal order to censor the judge's political opponent. The ruling was officially made because of Musk's refusal to name a legal representative for the social network after the judge froze his last attorney's bank accounts. X stated it would not comply in secret with illegal orders and will publish Moraes' demands and related court documents for transparency, citing that the judge is demanding the company break Brazil's own laws. University of California, San Francisco researchers identify major driver behind CEOVID and long CEOVID with potential treatment. Researchers at the University of California, San Francisco have discovered that fibrin, a protein involved in blood clotting, plays a major role in driving CEOVID-19 disease symptoms, including inflammatory and neurological issues. The study found that fibrin binds to SARS-CoV-2 virus proteins, forming clots that are difficult to break down and leading to scarring and inflammation in the lungs, brain, and other organs. By blocking fibrin with a novel antibody, researchers were able to reduce clotting and symptoms in mice, offering a potential new therapeutic approach for CEOVID-19 patients. Anti-inflammatory diet may reduce dementia risk by up to one-third. Study. A study published in JAMA Open Network found that individuals who adhered to an anti-inflammatory diet had a 31% reduction in the risk of developing dementia, according to Abigail Dove, the lead study author. The research revealed that this dietary approach was especially beneficial for those with existing cardiometabolic diseases, such as heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and stroke, which are established risk factors for dementia. Dementia is a condition characterized by memory loss and cognitive decline, and reducing inflammation in the body may help mitigate its effects. To incorporate anti-inflammatory foods into one's diet, examples include adding fatty fish like salmon, leafy greens such as spinach, and other nutrient-dense whole foods to daily meals. More evidence. Ukraine commander says Western intelligence was behind Kursk attack. A Ukrainian soldier revealed that Western intelligence played a crucial role in Ukraine's recent invasion of Russia's Kursk Oblast, providing detailed data that helped the Ukrainian military launch a successful operation. The United States has denied involvement in planning the invasion, but has offered significant support by allowing Ukrainian forces to use American-supplied armored vehicles, missiles, and bombs. The Ukrainian soldier suggested that one goal of the invasion was to demoralize the Russian civilian population, while Russia is now ruling out peace talks with Ukraine following the Kursk invasion. Chinese offices emptier now than during peak of COVID lockdowns as economy crumbles. China's economic slowdown has led to a surge in office vacancies, particularly in high-end spaces, as businesses struggle to stay afloat amidst rising costs and declining demand. According to data from real estate agencies, vacancy rates in major cities such as Shenzhen, Beijing, Guangzhou, and Shanghai are higher than they were 2 years ago, with some areas reaching as high as 27%. Rental prices have also dropped by around 10 to 15% year on year, with further declines expected as the economy continues to contract. The situation is unlikely to improve without massive government stimulus, which would be a reversal of Beijing's current strategy to not engage in large-scale spending, despite sharp economic slowdowns. Alzheimer's could be a white matter disease, not gray. Alzheimer's disease is primarily understood as a degeneration of gray matter in the brain, but recent research suggests that white matter abnormalities play a crucial role in its progression. White matter is composed of myelinated axons that facilitate communication between different parts of the brain and spinal cord, enabling cognitive functions such as thinking and movement. Studies have shown that white matter hyperintensities are present in individuals with Alzheimer's and are associated with neuropsychiatric symptoms. Furthermore, alterations in genes linked to myelin proteins in white matter occur early in the development of Alzheimer's. This new understanding of Alzheimer's as a white matter disease opens up potential avenues for treatment, including targeting white matter abnormalities rather than just gray matter pathology. These are the 10 worst countries in the world for women. The Georgetown Institute for Women, Peace and Security released the 2023 Women Peace and Security Index scores, ranking countries based on inclusion, justice, and safety. The bottom 10 countries for women are located in the Middle East and Africa, with high maternal mortality rates, low education rates, and elevated rates of intimate partner violence, contributing to their low overall scores. Somalia, Haiti, and Eswatini had the largest declines in status from 2017 to 2023, with the average index score for the group being half the global average at 0.38 out of 1.0. Here's why Democrats want to censor Grok's AI images. Democrats in the House of Representatives are attempting to have the Federal Election Commission issue rules to enable censorship of images created specifically by artificial intelligence developed by Elon Musk's X, essentially allowing them to eradicate memes they don't like. This move is likely in response to threads exposing the hypocrisy and flaws in certain policies and politicians, such as a thread mocking Kamala Harris' Choose Joy campaign slogan, and highlighting her stance on issues like defunding the police and promoting diversity. Chinese narcos in Toronto run command and control fentanyl laundering network used in Toronto Dominion Bank case United States investigate. The Toronto Dominion Bank's alleged involvement in laundering fentanyl-related funds is just the tip of the iceberg in a massive North American money laundering network controlled by the Chinese Communist Party. According to David Asher, a former senior investigator for the State Department, the CCP has co-opted Chinese triads to facilitate global money laundering and drug trafficking operations that involve Mexican cartels flooding the United States with illicit drugs. The operation is said to be based in Toronto and other Canadian cities, using Chinese international students as mules to deposit fentanyl cash into North American banks, with some estimates suggesting that billions of dollars are being laundered each month. Thousands of illegal migrants deported from Germany to Poland. Thousands of illegal migrants have been deported from Germany to Poland, with 3,140 people expelled from the Brandenburg region alone as of the end of June, part of a broader trend that could see nearly 10,000 deportees from neighboring German land. The issue has gained prominence in public discourse, particularly as tensions between Germany and Poland over handling illegal immigration have escalated, with growing public concern over safety and potential impact on political stability. Brazilian judge orders Google, Apple to remove X from platform. Brazilian Bar Association demands review for threatening virtual private network users with fine. Brazilian Supreme Court Justice Alexandra de Moraes ordered the social media platform X to be immediately suspended in Brazil due to its refusal to comply with a legal order to censor the judge's political opponents. The company was given 24 hours to shut down, while Apple and Google were ordered to block the use of the app and remove it from their stores within 5 days. Moraes also threatened Brazilians who use virtual private networks to access X with a fine equivalent to $8,900. X's Global Government Affairs account refused to comply with the order, citing the need for transparency and the illegality of the demands. The company argued that Moraes' actions were manifestly illegal and that his colleagues on the Supreme Court were unwilling or unable to stand up to him. Data centers in spy country, Northern Virginia, face 7-year hookup wait. The rapid growth of artificial intelligence data centers in Virginia's Loudoun County has created a massive backlog of delayed hookups for large data centers by energy supplier Dominion Energy. The wait time for hookup requests can take 1 to 3 years, or as long as 7 years, due to the surge in demand for electricity. Dominion Energy is facing challenges in beefing up its power grid and supply data centers with additional load capacity, with a 500% increase in power demand by data centers from 2013 to 2022. The Mid-Atlantic grid operator PJM Interconnection now requests a 15-year data center forecast instead of a 5-year outlook due to the soaring power demand, which is also driven by electrification trends such as electric vehicles and fifth-generation technology. Dubai is on fire. Residential real estate prices in Dubai have increased by 62% from the lowest point during the COVID-19 pandemic and are now 12% higher than their peak levels in 2014. Federal court upholds ban on Let's Go Brandon shirts in high school. A United States federal judge ruled that a Michigan high school student's t-shirt with the phrase "Let's Go Brandon" was not protected by free speech laws because it could be interpreted as profane. The decision was made despite the phrase being used by politicians, including members of the House of Representatives. Jonathan Turley, a law professor and Fox News contributor, disagrees with the ruling, arguing that it sweeps too far into regulating political speech and sets a vague standard for what is permissible commentary. Kamala is going to drive gold to $10,000. Kamala Harris's policies will likely lead to higher deficits, increased inflation, and the eventual end of the United States dollar as the global reserve currency. Her plans, such as subsidizing housing, will drive up prices, and her attacks on private businesses will harm competition and increase costs. The Biden administration's destruction of competition has already led to higher energy prices, which in turn have driven up the cost of everything else. Central banks are preparing for an end of the dollar by buying large quantities of gold, a likely reserve asset due to its 5,000-year history of maintaining value. If Kamala wins, this trend will continue, resulting in the eventual end of the dollar as global reserve currency and potentially driving up the price of gold even further. The pending implosion of Chicago public unions. No city is more deserving. The city of Chicago is facing a severe financial crisis with a projected budget deficit of nearly $1 billion for 2025. Mayor Brandon Johnson's administration is struggling to address the issue, which has been exacerbated by rising personnel costs, drops in key tax revenues, and expiring one-time budget solutions. The situation is further complicated by ongoing contract talks with the city's firefighters and paramedics, who have gone more than 3 years without a new contract. Additionally, a proposed teacher's contract would add another $2.9 billion to the deficit, making it increasingly difficult for the city to balance its budget. Over half of people worldwide expect harm from their water in the next 2 years. A recent study published in Nature Communications found that over 52% of respondents across 141 countries anticipate serious harm from drinking water in the next 2 years. Despite having access to clean water, around 40% of people in the United States reported anticipating harm. The lowest rate was reported in Singapore at 0.9%, and the highest was reported in Zambia at 54.3%. Researchers found that public perception of corruption is a strong predictor of anticipation of risks from drinking water, accounting for over 50% of differences among countries. South China Sea flashpoint. Philippines accuses China of intentionally ramming Coast Guard vessel. Tensions are rising in the South China Sea as China's increasing aggression towards the Philippines could push the world closer to a potential flashpoint for conflict. The Philippine Coast Guard has released footage of a Chinese vessel ramming one of its ships, while China claims it was actually the Philippine ship that deliberately collided with theirs. Experts warn that the situation could escalate into war, fought on multiple fronts, and are urging Washington politicians to de-escalate the situation to avoid another conflict. ExxonMobil's Guyana oil, a $1 trillion opportunity. ExxonMobil is poised for growth and income despite trading at rich multiples, with an EVA/EBITDA of 7.65 times and a flowing barrel stat of $116,000 per barrel. The company projects daily Permian production of 1.2 million barrels of oil equivalent per day by the end of 2024 and aims to increase this to 2 million barrels of oil equivalent per day by 2027, representing a growth rate of 20% per year. ExxonMobil is also generating significant free cash flow, with approximately $26.5 billion annually on a trailing 12-month basis, and has distributed $8.1 billion in dividends and repurchased $16.3 billion in stock. Zelensky calls for India peace summit in effort to get Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and Ukraine's corner. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has proposed an international peace summit hosted by India to end the war with Russia. The move is part of his efforts to get powerful BRICS countries, including China and India, to support Ukraine's peace formula, which includes a demand for Russian forces to withdraw from occupied territories. However, China has remained neutral, and some experts question whether India will abandon its oil and trade relationship with Russia. Meanwhile, Ukraine's military operation in the Kursk region aims to humiliate the Russian government and show that Putin's red lines are bluffs, with the ultimate goal of building leverage for negotiation. Wind farms, offshore Trojan horses. The United States Department of the Interior has approved large offshore wind farms in New Jersey and Maryland, which will receive huge subsidies from the federal government and electricity ratepayers. However, an analysis of similar projects in New York shows that the economic benefits are much lower than claimed, with residents paying a cumulative premium of $13 billion for the electricity generated, while the actual benefits are closer to $1.1 billion. The jobs created are mostly temporary and concentrated in professional services, with federal taxpayers contributing at least $65 billion via tax credits if the Biden administration's offshore wind target is met. Federal Bureau of Investigation repeatedly botches child abuse investigations, new report finds. The United States Department of Justice's Office of the Inspector General has released a scathing report detailing the Federal Bureau of Investigation's repeated failure to comply with its own policies and federal laws regarding child sexual abuse cases. The audit found significant gaps in the FBI's response, including mandatory reporting, victim services, and timely responses to ongoing abuse. In 47% of incidents involving suspected child abuse, FBI employees failed to report it as required by law. Only 17% of reports were fully documented, and in 36% of eligible cases, victims did not receive necessary services or updates. The audit makes 11 recommendations for the FBI to improve its practices, including better oversight and stricter compliance with mandatory reporting laws. The downfall of Germany. There's no article provided to summarize. Please provide the text you would like me to summarize, and I will be happy to assist you in accordance with the guidelines you specified. California bill banning voter identification passes legislature, awaits Newsom's signature. A bill that would ban local governments in California from requiring voter identification in elections has passed the state's assembly and now awaits Governor Gavin Newsom's approval or veto. The measure, which was approved 30-8 in the state Senate in Maine 57-16 in the Assembly on August 27th, would prevent cities like Huntington Beach from imposing such requirements and give jurisdiction for election laws to the state. Senator Dave Min, who sponsored the bill, argued that it would protect against a patchwork of varying election requirements throughout California and prevent voter disenfranchisement. However, opponents, including Huntington Beach City Attorney Michael Gates, claim that the bill is an overreach by the state and that local governments have the right to set their own election rules under the California Constitution. Nearly half of Food and Drug Administration approved artificial intelligence devices not based on real patient data. A comprehensive study by researchers at the University of North Carolina found that nearly half of artificial intelligence medical devices authorized by the Food and Drug Administration were not based on real patient data, raising concerns about their safety and effectiveness in real-world patient care. The study analyzed 27 years of Food and Drug Administration authorizations from 1995 to 2022 and highlighted the rapid growth of artificial intelligence medical devices, with authorizations increasing from 2 to 69 annually between 2016 and 22. Researchers recommend that the Food and Drug Administration require clinical validation for all devices, meaning testing on real patients, and establish a gold standard indicator of safety and effectiveness. United States government using tax dollars to fund woke counter-disinformation video games. The Norwegian government and the European Union have funded a video game called Dustborn that promotes far-left ideology, while the United States government has launched a funding program for modern video games that aims to influence teens against conservative arguments surrounding politics, diversity, inclusion, climate change, economics, and COVID-19. The Global Engagement Center at the United States State Department ran a competition for a $275,000 grant to create a video game that incorporates active inoculation theory and addresses current disinformation and propaganda tactics. The project's goal is to produce a counter-disinformation video game that can be used as a tool for social engineering, with the ultimate intention of influencing global audiences. Office of Foreign Assets controls banality of evil. Small United States agency victimizes millions of foreign innocents. The Office of Foreign Assets controls sanctions have caused widespread harm to Syrian civilians, targeting the country's central bank and essential industries, such as oil and gas, and even aiming to bar the reconstruction of devastated areas. As a result, Syria's gross domestic product plummeted from $68 billion before the war to just $9 billion by 2021, with 90% of Syrians impoverished and more than half living with food insecurity, leading some to turn to the drug trade as a means of survival. Google restricts election-related content from its artificial intelligence products. Google is implementing new restrictions on its generative artificial intelligence products in the lead-up to the 2024 United States election. The changes include limiting responses to certain election-related queries, such as candidate information, voting processes, and election results. The move is intended to mitigate concerns about misinformation spreading through Google Search, AI overlays, YouTube, AI-generated summaries, gems, and Gemini's image generation. Meanwhile, X has updated its Grok artificial intelligence assistant to direct users seeking accurate information on the 2024 United States elections to vote. Dove, following reports that it was spreading election misinformation about ballot deadlines in several states. 50 Shades of Central Bank Tyranny. The global financial system is shifting towards absolute digital enslavement and a global technocracy through the implementation of central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Politicians from both parties in the United States are complicit in this shift, with Democrats pushing for a tokenized dollar under the guise of financial inclusion and Republicans advocating for enhanced surveillance and control by large banks. The current system is being intentionally dismantled to bring about a controlled demolition and introduce a new digital control system. To resist this, individuals can adopt monetary alternatives such as self-custody, crypto, gold, and silver, and engage in radical non-compliance with the existing financial system. China, nominal gross domestic product growth could go negative. China's domestic economy is struggling due to the poor performance of its real estate sector, which continues to decline, despite a slight uptick last Friday. This has led to concerns that China may soon experience a negative nominal gross domestic product print, further exacerbating the country's economic woes.